name is Pradheep Sampath, and I'm Entersekt's Chief Product Officer. Entersekt is a company that delivers world-class customer and payment authentication solutions. And our goal is twofold. We aim to make access easy for everybody while preventing fraud in the financial system. $3.6 billion people are going to be using some form of digital banking by 2024. And that's a 54% increase just from 2021. And digital identity verification authentication is key to these billions of people having a secure but comfortable relationship in terms of digital banking. So where does it play a part? There's two main facets to it. One is new to bank, and the other one is known to bank. New to bank is when individuals are establishing a new relationship with their financial institution. That's when the bank looks to establish something called uniqueness. Can I uniquely identify an individual over all others? And then there's other concept called sameness, which is once a person has been registered with a bank, how do I make sure that the person coming back and transacting with me is the exact same person that I empowered to open an account with me back in the day? So the interactions in terms of that digital identity verification, which is typically called identity proofing, happens during the first KYC and AML process, know your customer, and anti-money laundering process. And then from that point on, banks look to create seamless ways in which they authenticate the individual on an ongoing basis, but re-verify individuals' identity just in instances where the risk or the magnitude of the transaction would justify or call for those actions to happen. Identity theft has been ranked the #1 reason for fraudulent transactions over the last 2 years. Companies, corporations, and governments have suffered billions of dollars of losses already because of identity theft. And if you really think about it, right, there's two main reasons that create this problem of identity theft. One is impersonation. And impersonation can come with people having access to various sophisticated methods where they can pretend to be somebody else when they either open an account or when they are pursuing a transaction at some point in time. Or it can be a complete synthetic ID where they will put together identity attributes from multiple individuals and splice them together to create an identity that's not really existent, but piece parts of it exist across the board. So these are the challenges that banks have to face as they onboard more people in a reliable manner, but in a frictionless manner to the extent that's possible. Now, how fraudsters are trying to push the envelope in undertaking these activities are they'll just outright steal phones and get access to people's most private information from the mobile devices. They'll impersonate accounts. Or what's becoming the most prevalent and hard to solve is the payer manipulation, which is essentially the authorized push payment fraud, which is becoming this huge menace in the world of real-time payments, because once you've issued the payments, there's no going back. So these are the various fraud vectors that organizations need to stay ahead of, and they need technology that's built on sound data practices with strong user experience methodologies to kind of have an all-of-the-above solution to solve this problem. Let's walk in the shoes of a customer as they interact with their financial life. It starts with perhaps them opening an account with a bank or a credit union. And then they've got to maybe add some beneficiaries and other family members to their account. They decide that their paycheck is going to get deposited into their bank accounts. And then they go on with their lives. They get a credit card from their bank, they get a debit card from their bank. They might add these credit cards or debit cards to the wallet. They make purchases online, they make some returns, they dispute some payments. And so it goes on and on and on and on and on. typically what happens is each of these activities that I just spoke about have been managed by different applications, by different departments and divisions within financial institutions, governed by different risk profiles, and subject to different user experiences. And that's not great, is it? So what we're doing here at Entersekt is we've created this platform that walks in the shoes of our customer as they traverse these various milestones in their financial life. And we're able to learn their card transactions informs their login activities and vice versa, so that we truly create this 360-degree view of the customer and then form the right kind of risk profile to them to give them an experience that appropriate with the magnitude of the risk involved in the transaction. But it's just appropriate. It's not more frictionful. Shopping has gone online. Shopping has gone online to the extent that it was about 35% before the pandemic to over 57% now. And that's an incredible jump, right? Once people have adopted shopping online and similar behaviors, there's no going back. But the downside to that is about 85% of online card transactions, which is typically called card not present, are the reasons for fraud. So what is now important is to have a suite of solutions that is context aware. That's looking at the type of transactions that are happening from a user profile segmentation perspective, aligned with the merchant's brand as to how do they want to come across to their customer, but also in line with what is useful and what is the prevalent scenario for a particular region. And so that's where authentication in the merchant context becomes extremely important to be risk-based and context-aware. There might be some market segments where it's 100% challenge. That's what people call zero trust, where there must be some kind of a challenge to make sure that every transaction is protected for both the merchant and for the customer. But there are some other markets where you're not going to go zero trust, but you're going to rely on your risk-based signals to inform the kind of step-up challenge that you present to your customers to make sure that it's a seamless experience. Where do we go from here? I'm sure that in the time to come, we're going to see the convergence of online fraud detection, seamless authentication, and identity proofing. So when it comes to these, right, there's a question. Should I do ID document verification with a selfie and liveness? Should I do biometrics from a behavioral perspective? Should I check the user's personally identifiable information like in records? Build a profile on the user from a risk perspective? Have a strong device fingerprint? What's the right answer? I think the right answer is it's all of the above. And the answer is all of the above because no two people are the same. No two transactions are following the same profile. And so we must, as an industry, bring to bear a combination of these factors that is also aware of what's the best way to bring technology to bear powered by data for a particular interaction. Specifically for identity proofing, I think one of the most important things is that it needs to be privacy preserving. Identity proofing is very personal to the user because we're going to seek and obtain a lot of information about them which is very private, and therefore identity proofing must be very mindful of the fact that any of these actions must be privacy preserving. And it must take care of providing answers to claims. But on the other hand, it's also very interesting that some of the initiatives that are happening globally, whether it's the EI-2 initiative in Europe or verifiable credentials, there's this move towards individuals investing in having their identity verified, but then having the verified identity be stored in a secure wallet. And that's also happening with the wallets associated with the iOS and the Android ecosystems. And then the user is in control over who gets to see elements of their identity based on what the need of the hour is. I'll give you a quick example. If someone needs to know that an individual is over 21 years of age, then the identity providing platform needs to simply assert the claim that the individual is over 21. There is no need to share the actual full date of birth. So it's those kind of privacy preserving initiatives which would make sure that there is wide adoption of digital identity proofing and verification, but it's done without impeding one of the most important aspects of life, which is an individual's right to privacy.